The unexpected guest's Captain Sarah Chun stood at the observation deck of Luna Station, watching the stars through the reinforced viewport. The coffee in her hand had gone cold hours ago, but she barely noticed. Her dark eyes were fixed on the scanner display showing 27 massive objects approaching from the edge of the solar system. Each ship was roughly 2 kilometers long, their hulls gleaming with a silver-blue metal that seemed to pulse with its own inner light. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the lead vessel," announced Lieutenant James Park from the communications station. His voice carried the tension that everyone on Luna Station felt. This was humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and nobody knew what to expect. Sarah set down her coffee cup and straightened her uniform. "Put it through to the main screen, Lieutenant." The viewport flickered and was replaced by an image that made several crew members gasp. The alien that appeared was tall and graceful, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer like water. Its eyes were large and golden, and when it spoke, its voice was melodic and strangely hypnotic. "Greetings, young ones of the third planet," the alien said, its words translated by the station's computers. "I am Ambassador Krelfara of the Zephyrian Empire. We have traveled far to meet with your species." Sarah stepped forward, her military training taking over despite the historic nature of the moment. "Welcome to our solar system, Ambassador. I am Captain Sarah Chun of the Earth Defense Force. We're honored by your visit." The alien's expression remained pleasant, but Sarah caught something in its golden eyes that made her uncomfortable. It was the same look she had seen in the eyes of adults watching small children play with toys they didn't understand. "We have come to offer you a great opportunity," Krelthara continued. "Your species has recently achieved basic space travel, and we wish to guide you into the wider galactic community. The Zephyrian Empire has helped many young civilizations make this transition safely." On the bridge of the lead Zephyrian vessel, Commander Vexnari studied the primitive human space, stationed through the ship's sensors. The structure was small and clearly built with limited technology. The humans had managed to reach their moon and establish a few basic outposts, but compared to the Zephyrian Empire's vast network of star systems, they were little more than children playing with simple tools. "These creatures show promise," Vexnari said to his tactical officer. "Their technology is crude, but they have achieved faster-than-light communication and basic energy weapons. With proper guidance, they could become useful members of our empire." The tactical officer nodded. "Should we prepare the standard integration protocols, Commander?" "Yes, but be gentle. These humans seem more emotional than most species we encounter. We don't want to frighten them into doing something foolish." Back on Luna Station, Sarah was listening to Ambassador Krelfara explain the benefits of joining the Zephyrian Empire. The alien spoke of protection, advanced technology, and guidance, from a civilization that had been traveling the stars for thousands of years. It all sounded very generous, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. "We appreciate your offer, Ambassador," Sarah said carefully, "but we would need time to discuss this with our leaders on Earth. This is a decision that affects our entire species." Krelthara's golden eyes flickered with what might have been impatience. "Of course, young Captain. We understand that primitive species often need time to comprehend the magnitude of such opportunities. We will wait in your outer system for your response." After the transmission ended, Sarah turned to Lieutenant Park. "Get me a priority channel to Earth Command, and send a coded message to Admiral Webb on the Titan facility." Park's fingers flew over his console. "Message sent, Captain. Earth Command is standing by." Dr. Elena Vasquez, Luna Station's chief science officer, approached Sarah with a tablet full of sensor data. "Captain, I've been analyzing their ships. The technology is impressive, but not as advanced as they want us to believe. Their energy signatures show they're using fusion-based power systems, which is only about 50 years ahead of our current technology. Sarah studied the data. What about their weapons? Directed energy weapons, probably plasma-based. Powerful, but nothing our shields couldn't handle if we needed to defend ourselves. Are you saying we could fight them if we had to? Elena hesitated. With our current visible fleet? No. But if Project Nemesis is as advanced as the rumors suggest, Sarah nodded grimly. Project Nemesis was the most classified military project in human history. For the past 12 years, the best minds in human science and engineering had been working on it in secret facilities throughout the solar system. Sarah had only the vaguest idea of what they were building, but she knew it was designed for exactly this situation. Meanwhile, on Titan, Admiral Marcus Webb was receiving Sarah's coded message in the depths of the Nemesis facility. The underground complex stretched for kilometers beneath the surface of Saturn's largest moon, and at its heart sat humanity's greatest achievement, the EDS. Prometheus was a masterpiece of human engineering and alien technology. 15 years ago, a small alien probe had crash-landed on Earth. Instead of announcing the discovery to the world, a secret team of scientists had reverse-engineered its technology and combined it with humanity's most advanced research. The result was a ship that defied every assumption about human capabilities. Admiral, the Zephyrians are requesting a response from Earth within 48 hours, reported Captain Lisa Martinez, the Prometheus's commanding officer. They seem to believe we'll accept their offer of guidance without question. Webb smiled coldly. Let them believe that. The longer they underestimate us, the more effective our response will be. The Prometheus was 3 kilometers long and armed with weapons that combined human innovation with alien technology. Its hull was made from a metamaterial that could absorb and redirect energy attacks, and its propulsion system allowed it to move faster than anything the Zephyrians had ever encountered. Captain Martinez, begin final preparations. If the Zephyrians are planning to force their guidance on us, they're going to get a surprise they'll never forget. Back on Luna Station, Sarah was holding a secure conference with Earth's leadership. President Amanda Foster appeared on the main screen, flanked by the heads of every major government and military organization on Earth. Captain Chun, President. Foster said, "What's your assessment of the situation?" "The Zephyrians are not as benevolent as they appear, Madam President. They're treating us like children, who need to be managed rather than equals who deserve respect. Their offer of guidance sounds more like a demand for submission." General Harrison, the head of Earth's military forces, leaned forward. "Are we talking about a potential invasion?" "I don't think they see it that way, General. They probably believe they're doing us a favor by bringing us into their empire. But the end result would be the same. Humanity would lose its independence." President Foster was quiet for a long moment. "Admiral Webb has informed me that Project Nemesis is ready for deployment." "Captain Shun, how do you think the Zephyrians would react if they knew about the Prometheus?" Sarah considered the question. "They'd probably reconsider their entire approach. Right now, they see us as a primitive species that needs their protection. If they realized we could defend ourselves, they might be more willing to treat us as equals. And perhaps it's time to show them who they're really dealing with." On the Zephyrian flagship, Ambassador Krelthara was growing impatient. 46 hours had passed since their arrival, and the humans had still not given a definitive answer. Most species contacted by the Zephyrian Empire responded within hours, usually with gratitude and immediate submission. "Commander Vexnari," Krelthara said, "perhaps we should demonstrate our capabilities. A show of force might help these humans understand their situation more clearly." Vexnari nodded. "I could order a flyby of their planet. The sight of our fleet in their skies should make our superiority clear. Do it, and prepare a message explaining that our patience has limits. The Zephyrian Empire has been generous with our time but we cannot wait forever for them to accept reality. The Zephyrian fleet began moving toward Earth, their massive ships casting shadows across the lunar surface as they passed. To anyone watching from Earth, it would have looked like an unstoppable force approaching their world. But deep beneath Titan's surface, Admiral Webb was watching the alien fleet's movement with satisfaction. They're positioning themselves exactly where we want them. Captain Martinez, prepare to engage the cloak and begin our approach. The Prometheus's cloaking system was based on alien technology, but improved by human engineering. When activated, it bent light and energy around the ship, making it completely invisible to any known sensor system. The massive dreadnought began its journey toward Earth, hidden from the Zephyrian fleet's sensors. Admiral, Captain Martinez reported, we're approaching the target coordinates. The Zephyrian fleet is in perfect position. Webb nodded. Signal Luna Station. Tell Captain Chun it's time to make our introduction. Sarah received the coded message just as the Zephyrian fleet reached Earth's orbit. The alien ships arranged themselves in a threatening formation above the planet, their weapons clearly visible and powered up. It was an I**. The silent galaxy, the silence that followed the Prometheus's appearance, was deafening. On the bridge of the Zephyrian flagship, every alien officer stared at their screens in shock. The massive human ship hanging above them defied everything they thought they knew about this primitive species. Commander Vexnari was the first to find his voice. That's impossible. Our sensors showed no ship in this system capable of such size or technology. Admiral Webb's face appeared on the communication screen, his expression calm, but his eyes hard as steel. Commander, I am Admiral Marcus Webb of the Earth Defense Force. I believe you underestimated our capabilities. Ambassador Krell-Thara struggled to process what he was seeing. The human ship was not just large, it was technologically superior to anything in the Zephyrian fleet. Its hull was made from materials that seemed to absorb and redirect energy, and its weapon systems were clearly more advanced than anything the Zephyrian Empire possessed. How? Krell-Thara whispered. Your species has barely achieved basic space travel. Webb smiled. 15 years ago, one of your scout probes crashed on our world. Instead of ignoring it, we studied it. We learned from it. And then we improved upon it. The Prometheus represents the best of human engineering, combined with technology we learned from your people. The revelation hit the Zephyrian crew like a physical blow. The probe they had lost during a routine survey mission had been recovered by these supposedly primitive humans. Not only recovered, but reverse-engineered and improved upon to create a ship that surpassed anything in the Zephyrian fleet. Captain Martinez's voice came over the communication system. Admiral, we're detecting increased energy signatures from the alien fleet. They appear to be powering weapons. Webb's expression didn't change. Zephyrian fleet, I strongly advise against any hostile action. The Prometheus is not alone. As if summoned by his words, 12 more human ships decloaked around the Zephyrian formation. Each was smaller than the Prometheus, but still impressive. And all were equipped with the same advanced technology. The Zephyrian fleet found itself completely surrounded. Dr. Eleni Vasquez, monitoring the situation from Luna Station, watched in amazement as the human ships revealed themselves. Captain Chun, the energy readings from our fleet are off the charts. We're not just matching the Zephyrians, we're exceeding them. Sarah nodded, feeling a surge of pride in her species. Dr. Vasquez, open a channel to the Prometheus. I want to coordinate our response. On the Prometheus's bridge, Admiral Webb was studying the alien fleet's formation. Captain Martinez, are they taking any aggressive action? No, sir. They appear to be in complete shock. Their weapon systems are powered, but not targeting us. I don't think they know how to respond. Good. Let's give them something to think about. Webb activated the ship's external communication system. Zephyrian Fleet, this is Admiral Webb. You came to our system believing you were dealing with a primitive species that needed your guidance. You were wrong. Humanity has been preparing for this day since we first looked at the stars and wondered if we were alone. The words carried across space to every ship in the alien fleet. On the Zephyrian flagship, the crew listened in stunned silence as the human admiral continued. We knew that when we finally encountered other species, we might not be welcomed. As equals, so we prepared. We studied. We built. And when your probe crashed on our world, we learned from it and made ourselves stronger. Ambassador Krelthara finally managed to speak. Admiral Webb, we meant no offense. The Zephyrian Empire has encountered many species throughout the galaxy. We offer guidance to those who need it. And we appreciate the thought, Ambassador. But humanity doesn't need guidance. We need partners. We need allies. We need to be treated as equals, not as children to be managed. The communication channel fell silent as the Zephyrians processed this information. Everything they had believed about human primitiveness had been shattered in a matter of minutes. The species they had come to guide was actually more advanced than they were. On Luna Station, Sarah was coordinating with Earth Command. President Foster, the Zephyrians are completely stunned. They have no idea how to respond to a situation where they're not the dominant power. President Foster's image on the screen showed her relief. Captain Shun, what do you recommend as our next move? We need to establish the rules of engagement, Madam President. The Zephyrians came here expecting to dictate terms. We need to show them that any relationship between our species will be based on mutual respect. Back on the Prometheus, Admiral Webb was receiving reports from his intelligence officers. Admiral, we're intercepting communications from the Zephyrian fleet. They're requesting instructions from their home system. What kind of instructions? They don't know whether to retreat, attack, or negotiate. This situation is completely outside their normal protocols. Webb nodded. Captain Martinez, maintain position, but do not take any aggressive action. We want to show strength, not start a war. The Prometheus hung in space like a silent monument to human ingenuity. Its presence had changed everything. The Zephyrian Empire, which had expected to encounter a primitive species, now found itself facing a civilization that was arguably more advanced than their own. Commander, Vexnari was studying the human ships with growing respect. Ambassador, their cloaking technology is superior to ours. Their ship design is more efficient. Their weapons appear to be more powerful. How did they achieve this level of advancement without our knowledge? Krelthara's golden eyes were fixed. On the Prometheus, they used our own technology against us. When we lost that probe, we assumed it was destroyed. Instead, these humans found it and learned from it. They took our knowledge and improved upon it. What do we do now? We report to the Empire. This changes everything. The message that went out from the Zephyrian fleet to their home system was unlike anything they had ever transmitted. For the first time in their history, they were reporting contact with a species that was technologically superior to their own. The response from the Zephyrian Empire was swift and decisive. Within hours, the fleet received new orders. Negotiate. As equals, not as superiors. The humans were to be treated as a potential ally, not a primitive species to be guided. Admiral Webb received the news from his intelligence officers with satisfaction. The Zephyrians have contacted their home system. They're requesting permission to negotiate a formal alliance. An alliance, not a protectorate? Captain Martinez asked. An alliance. Word is spreading throughout the galaxy that humanity is not to be underestimated. The Zephyrians want to be our partners, not our guardians. On Luna Station, Sarah was preparing for a new round of negotiations. The dynamic had changed completely. The Zephyrians were no longer offering guidance. They were requesting cooperation. Captain Chun, Lieutenant Park announced, we're receiving a new transmission from Ambassador Krell-Thara. The alien diplomat appeared on the screen, and his entire demeanor had changed. Gone was the condescending attitude and the talk of guidance. In its place was genuine respect and a hint of nervousness. Captain Chun, Admiral Webb, I have been authorized by the Zephyrian Empire to negotiate a formal alliance between our peoples. We recognize that humanity is far more advanced than we initially believed, and we would be honored to establish diplomatic relations based on mutual respect and equality. Sarah smiled. Ambassador, we would be very interested in such an arrangement. But any alliance must be based on a principle that both species are equals, with equal rights and responsibilities. Absolutely, Captain. The Zephyrian Empire has great respect for human ingenuity and technological achievement. We believe that working together, our species could accomplish great things. The negotiations that followed were very different from the initial contact. The Zephyrians, who had come to impose their will on a primitive species, found themselves dealing with equals who had their own terms and conditions. Dr. Elena Vasquez was monitoring the talks from her laboratory. Captain, the Zephyrians are sharing some interesting information about the galaxy. Apparently, there are other species out there who have been watching humanity's development with interest. Good interest or bad interest? Mixed. Some species are impressed by our technological advancement. Others are concerned about our rapid progress. The Zephyrians' report about the Prometheus has caused quite a stir in galactic political circles. Sarah nodded. This was exactly what humanity had prepared for. The galaxy was full of species with different motivations and goals. Some would want to be allies. Others might see humanity as a threat, and still others might try to exploit human technology for their own purposes. Dr. Vasquez, make sure all our communications are being recorded. Future historians will want to know how humanity took its first steps into the galactic community. As the negotiations continued, it became clear that the Zephyrians were not just interested in an alliance. They were hoping to learn from human technology. The improvements that human engineers had made to their own technology were impressive, and the Zephyrians wanted to understand how a supposedly primitive species had achieved such advances. Admiral Webb was careful to share only limited information. Ambassador, we're willing to exchange certain technologies, but any such exchange must be mutual. We're not interested in one-sided arrangements. Of course, Admiral. The Zephyrian Empire has much to offer as well. Our knowledge of galactic politics, our extensive trade networks, and our exploration data could be valuable to humanity. The alliance that emerged from these negotiations was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Instead of a powerful empire absorbing a primitive species, two advanced civilizations were joining forces as equals. President Foster addressed the world from the United Nations headquarters. Today, humanity has taken its place among the stars, not as a junior partner to be guided, but as an equal member of the galactic community. The courage and ingenuity of our scientists and engineers have earned us the respect of an ancient civilization and opened the door to a future beyond our wildest dreams. The news of humanity's technological capabilities spread throughout the galaxy like wildfire. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive newcomers suddenly found themselves reevaluating their assumptions. The galaxy had a new power player, and everyone wanted to know what humanity would do next. On the Prometheus, Admiral Webb stood on the observation deck, watching the stars. The Zephyrian fleet had departed, but not before signing a comprehensive alliance agreement. Other alien vessels were already approaching the solar system, drawn by news of humanity's unexpected capabilities. Admiral, Captain Martinez approached. We're receiving diplomatic requests from 7 different species. They all want to establish contact with humanity. Webb smiled. The galaxy is about to become a much more interesting place, Captain. Make sure we're ready for whatever comes. Next, the silence that had fallen over the galaxy when the Prometheus first appeared was now filled with the sound of diplomatic chatter. Every species wanted to know more about the humans who had surprised the mighty Zephyrian Empire. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy, not with a whisper, but with a roar that echoed across the stars. The age of human isolation was over. The age of humanity as a galactic power had begun. Asterisk.